buttonhole is hidden in between this thing. Okay, so you can have access to it from here and there. There can be a series of it all the way. Okay, now you tack the center or the gaps in between it, okay, because you don't want to create an open gap, right? You want to limit the openness. Okay, so you stitch in between the seams just to make it flat and just to reduce that gap. Because let's say this is the front and you don't have these stitches here, it's just going to open wider, right? So you tack them in between each button, right, just to keep it in place flat. Okay, any questions? So on your pattern you have two pieces. Okay, so the placket is the smaller one and then the self is the bigger one. Okay, now there are few notches on, okay, that we have to keep in mind. There's 3 notches, 1, 2, 3. These notches are meant for the closure of the gap in between, right? So these notches, okay, are those little tacks, right? That holds the gap together. Okay. So first we need to find that. Okay. Okay. Now we have to find the right side and the wrong side, right? So this is our wrong side. This is our wrong side. Okay. So mark those, right? And then these two are going to be our right side. Okay. So now we're going to fold our right side, wrong side in two and press it, right? And then this is the front. This is the front. Okay, this is the front, and this is our facing, which is still our placket, right? So now I'm going to match the notches, okay, where the placket goes. Okay, then I'm going to stitch it at a 1/4 inch. That's the seam allowance for the front. The notches, the placket is stitched to it. Okay. Normally there would be notches here to indicate where the center front is, okay? But it's not here, so we're just going to mark it ourselves, okay? So we're going to mark it about a 1/4 inch bigger than the placket, okay? Because we want it to, let's make it an inch. We want it to overlap the placket, okay, so that our placket is hidden, right? We don't want it exposed, okay? So we mark it, so basically it folds down like that, right? Okay, so this is our front, and that's our placket, right? Cool? Okay. So again, I'm just going to press it to make sure that my line is in place, okay? It's an 8 bigger than the placket, so keep that in mind. front, and that's your placket, right? Front placket. So the placket and the facing is built together, right? So this layer is your facing, the inside becomes your placket, right? And this is your front, okay? So facing, placket, front, okay? Okay, any questions? Okay, so this is your face, right? So this is here, right? And then this is the front, okay? And then the groove on the inside is here, okay? So you draft your facing, your placket as one piece, right? Okay. So now there's two ways to go about it, right? This is one of it, where the stitches are exposed at the back, right? But it's not the cleanest way to finish it, right? You want to always hide anything that's not pleasing to see, okay? So now we're going to hide our tags, okay? Now before we do that, okay, we have to put on our buttonhole at this stage, okay? Because if you put the tags, we cannot get in to put our buttonhole, right? So you want to make sure that you put your buttonhole before you put on your tag stitches, okay? Okay, so I have my notches, I'm just marking them, okay? Now we have to find our buttonhole placement, okay? Remember that the keyhole buttonhole, when you're stitching it, you stitch on the wrong side, right? And the good side comes on the right side, right? So you stitch at the back. When you're using the shirt buttonhole, the right side faces up, right? When you're stitching we've done the keyhole buttonhole, right, in tailoring class, right? When you're stitching the keyhole, the wrong side faces up, okay? When you stitch it, the good side comes at the bottom, okay? So this is our placket, right? Now the inside is the one that everyone is going to see, right? Okay, so we want to stitch here for the good side to show, okay? So let's take this for example. Okay, so here, when you do this, when you open it, you want to see the nice part of the buttonhole, right? Not the ugly part, okay? Okay, so it means that we have to mark on the wrong side, right? Okay, so now our buttonhole is 3/4, right? So our buttonhole is sitting in 3/4, okay? And then we have to center it, okay, to our tags, okay? So the distance is 3 inches, okay? We're going to mark at 1.5. Now the width of the buttonhole is 3/4, right? You want to make sure that your buttonhole is bigger than your button, right? The button is 3/4, so the buttonhole has to be at least an 1/8 bigger, so that it's easier to put it through, right? Okay. So I'm going to mark it at 7/8, okay? 7/8. Okay. So now these are my buttonholes. Okay. So now we go into the machine, right? We feed it in, and then we make our buttonhole. Okay. going to use a felt, so it's visible. Trying to hide the stitch on the inside, but the gap here is very small, so we cannot get it, right? Okay, so mark your buttonhole, put in your button. You're not putting the button on the front layer, right? The front layer has no button, right? So it's clean. Okay, the buttonhole is on the inside, right? So now we have to create our tack. Okay, so now we're tacking both the front, right, and the placket together, right? We're just gonna run a stitch. Tack. Okay, get the in and we stop. Okay, same thing here. Okay, and we stop. Okay, so now our buttonhole will be in, right? In. Okay, and now we need to base this down, right? So we're just going to run a top stitch. I want my top stitch to be on the surface, okay? So I'm going to do 2 3/8 because I want to also catch my placket, right? Basically, I want to run a top stitch on the front to catch my placket, right? So the seam allowance for this was a 1/4 inch, right? 1/4 inch here, okay? So that's what we stitched here, the 1/4 inch, right? Okay, so I'm going to measure from the 1/4 inch to the edge of my front, okay, which is 2 3/8, right? I'm going to transfer that measurement to the front, 2 3/8, okay, from the front edge was the inside 2 3/8. Okay, I'm going to straight, okay, and let's run a top stitch on, okay, just to put the front and the placket together, okay, like that. Okay, we don't stitch from the back because we want the front to be clean, okay. Okay, so that's how the jacket front looks like, right? Front looks clean, then you have your buttonhole at the back, okay? Any questions? Okay. Press it. Put your name on. Now, I'm sure you guys all got the green one, right? It's gonna be a challenge to put your name on, so just write it on a paper and pin it to it, okay?
And you want us to use green better too, correct?
Sorry?
Do you want us to use green better, or do you want to use the white so you can see it?
Yeah, use contrast so that I can. If you want to do it for yourself too, it seriously doesn't matter. If you use contrasting, I'll see more mistakes, so you want wanna hide it at that, okay?
Probably hiding it.
I might still see it, but
Yep.
might not be that bad.
With your
Okay.
eyesight.
Okay, so we're going to go on the zipper. Yeah, so now that's how the zipper looks.